So RIP Capitalism was trending, and unsurprisingly, the comments were some of the most misguided things you'll ever see. Every last thing I saw scrolling through this were people referencing issues and problems that are directly caused by the government. I've said it before, and anyone who knows what they're talking about knows the government is, by definition, public and collective. It's the collectivization and forced extraction of resources, wealth, and power. It is not held in private hands, nor is it obtained through anything having to do with voluntary interaction. The government does not need to convince you of anything like a private business does. It simply needs to figure out how much they can fleece everyone without causing riots in the streets. That's the extent of their restraint, and even that doesn't always hold them back. It's hilarious. This Democratic Socialism Now account is actually a pretty large account, has a lot of followers, very active, and this is the best they've got. It's really odd that they blame capitalism for throwing anyone into jail over weed or dropping bombs on other countries. Those are despicable actions, no doubt, but they are actions not carried about by private individuals, private organizations, private enterprises. Those are precisely the egregious actions done by government, by the collectivized communal organization known as government, that gets to use outright violence with impunity. Just for example, what if Bill Gates or Jeff Bezos or any other millionaire or billionaire decided that anyone using Xanax sickens them, so they start locking these people up into cages? Now, that wouldn't happen, but if it did, it would not happen for very long before people got fed up with it and did something about it, namely raiding wherever those kidnapped people are and freeing them from those psychopaths. The government, on the other hand, the collectivization of power and the almighty trust in the state, well, that has the power and permission to do those things that would otherwise be deemed reprehensible if done by any private party, because they're doing it for the public good. They just need to write down what they're allowed to do, and voila, they just granted themselves a license to do it. So it's weird. You hate capitalism because of the war on drugs and the foreign policy of the U.S., exceptionally weird, because those are some of the most egregious things our government does. I've yet to hear about any purely private organization throwing people into cages over a plant or dropping bombs around the world with no end in sight. The best argument a socialist has would be that those private forces influence government. Well, yes, that does happen, but the poisoned root isn't with the private enterprise there. That's just a thorn. The poison root is the government. That is the foundational bedrock of being able to initiate violence in this manner. Or how about this guy, again, a very popular, well-known democratic socialist, complaining about 33 million Americans losing their jobs. Okay, very fair thing to complain about. Certainly an utter tragedy. And I'm really beside myself with grief that the government has done this to them. Not Jeff Bezos. He didn't do that. He didn't institute any lockdowns or shutdowns or stay-at-home orders. He couldn't even do that if he wanted to, because despite him being a billionaire, he is not permitted to make or enforce those decisions. He can do what he wants with Amazon, but he is really rather limited outside of that because he operates in the private realm for the most part. There are natural limits to what he can do. He can't force me to stay home. He can't force me to give him money. He can't lock me in a cage for weed. He can't imprison anyone for not wearing masks. He can't throw anyone into prison for insisting on going to work. That is solely the power that government holds, that communal entity that collectivizes power, which is exactly what these socialists advocate for empowering even further. When we are pushing back against these socialists, just know and realize that we are dealing with the most backwards, warped ideology that any human being has ever entertained. But that's all for now. Please like, subscribe, and share this video. Remember to blame Jeff Bezos if you lost your job, because yeah, he was behind it, not government, and ultimately, you should take it easy.